Hey everybody, welcome to the Death Battle Cast. I'm Ben, joined by Chad, Liam, and Sam.
Ah.
Yeah,
April Fool! No, I'm sorry.
April Fools.
We're not real.
We're not real. This show isn't actually happening today. We're gonna go ahead and close it here. Goodbye.
Let me just
We
run
weren't
it
late at
back.
all.
No.
Definitely. Oh god, the intro again. Okay.
And then the credits roll.
If only I had credits.
I love that there were people in chat who are going like, they're 5 minutes late. I don't know if they're actually even gonna air today because it's just a big April Fool's joke. No, we got you though.
Yeah. Levitation gifted out 10 memberships. All right, thank you.
Whoa.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, today we have multiple matchups that we want to talk about, specifically matchups that were pitches that you guys pitched to us through the Kickstarter that are crazy. Absolutely, some of you are absolutely off your fucking rocker pitching
great.
some of these matchups, and they are amazing.
Yeah. Orange
The
plastic
first
thing in
one,
box.
the first one,
Yes.
as I'm sure you saw because it's in the title and the thumbnail, is Barney the Purple Dinosaur versus Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know what reality this is, but this is actually a legitimate matchup to discuss. Okay, we'll get to it. It's gonna be fun, and then we have some other crazy matchups that we want to get to as well.
Yep.
Yes, Michael. Train versus dinosaur should be easy. You would think that.
You
until
would
it
think
turns out
that.
they are eldritch beings who are
No.
conceptual reality entities.
No,
It's
one of them
very
is.
bizarre.
What?
Well, we'll get to it. We'll
One of
get
them's
to
a
it.
train.
Gilded. Did
I
not hear about that.
before we jump into that, do want to mention, hey, guys, did you notice? There's a new death battle out. It sort of just appeared.
I mean, we had previews and everything. But
I mean,
yeah.
we had previews, but then Saturday came along and it sort of just appeared.
No, we're talking about the one that we dropped 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Oh.
did
Yeah,
you
no.
see?
Go see it.
Oh, the
Did you
April
see
Fool's joke.
Shigaraki
That's just
versus Mahito
mean.
2?
Yeah, but two.
Not
No, that-
Master Chief versus Doomslayer. No. Shigaraki versus
No.
Mahito 2. Yeah, we worked very hard on that one. No. So yeah, the new death battle is out. If you checked it out, we appreciate it. It was very fun to make. These guys did an incredible job putting it together. Liam was directing, and of course Moro was the lead animator for it.
So many hands.
Crazy animation.
Yeah.
We will probably talk about that more in our fireside chat, which is next week. If you are not familiar with our fireside chats, they are our members only live streams, which we do sort of in the evening around like 5 p.m. Central on Wednesdays, at least one Wednesday every month. So next Wednesday we will be doing that, and we might talk some details about the process of making that episode and some of the crazy stuff that went into it. But I'm sure you all are wondering why it came out on Saturday instead of Sunday, because that's bizarre, right?
Yep.
Oh, you got it, Chad?
I got it. So
Okay.
basically, we unintentionally initially uploaded it as unlisted. And unlisted can make its way into a playlist, which then people can get access to when we're not ready for that. So that happened very briefly, and we swapped it over. We thought everything was good, but unfortunately, it did get out. And so we'd also been talking about potentially airing Death Battle on Saturdays. It's something we discussed in the past. It was like Saturday versus Sunday on performance. So we got two birds, one stoned it. It was like, all right, let's just move it to Saturday. We'll see how it does on Saturday and prevent, get a little closer so that hopefully the leak doesn't go out. And we didn't want to talk about the leak to draw attention to it until now, but we always want to be transparent and honest with y'all. So that's what happened, but we just didn't want to draw attention to it. Want to make sure the video did good because a lot of people are, on our team are relying on that stuff. So
I will say though, whoever, like literally the video I think was up for like a minute. People had the opportunity to get into the video for maybe a minute, and then somebody screen recorded it, obviously, and then posted on YouTube. that person I do think is a piece of shit and I don't like them. I do just want to get that out there. Just so you know, in case you are watching, I don't like you. That sucks. You shouldn't. Why are you trying to fuck us like this? This is so rude. I should have got Mog for that part. I should have got Mog to be like...
Either way, huge shout out to all the friends of the channel who helped us through that time. It was certainly stressful, but it all worked out okay.
That was the takeaway, is the rest of the community kicks so much ass. Like, people were really, really, like, cool about it, and just even people that, like, in the chat were like, oh, I see the leaks post, I'm not going to watch it, I don't want it spoiled. Our mods, incredible work. Like, yeah, the community... 99.99% of people were so sick about it. So thank you.
Also, want to make it clear for those of you who aren't familiar with like how uploading to YouTube works and whatnot. This wasn't like an error on the YouTube system or anything like that. It was a user error. So
there's two boxes this close to each other. This one got clicked instead of this one.
Fuck. Like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Also, so that's all it really was. If you are, it is interesting to see some of the reactions to like death battles airing on Saturdays. If that's something you guys would prefer, let us know. I don't necessarily want death battle to feel like limited to a very specific, release window all the time, like a TV show, because we're not a TV show, we're a YouTube channel, right? So if a lot of you would prefer Saturday releases, let us know, because maybe we'll do future Saturday releases. If we do, we would tell you. we wouldn't do more shadow drops like that. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. The best. There was a meme from the subreddit where somebody's like, "This means that Death Battle isn't locked to Saturdays, so July 4th is a possible patriotic Death Battle." And I was like, "This is the wildest speculation ever, and I love it."
So that basically covers that. But we need to get to the matchup of Barney versus Thomas. What the fuck are we doing? Liam, what are we doing?
We're doing a podcast that comes out weekly called Cast.
Why
you,
Barney?
Oh, a question that I have spent the last 24 hours asking myself as I stare into the mirror, crying, sweat pouring down my face. Why Barney? Why God? And really the answer is that Barney and God are one and the same.
Wow.
Okay.
Should I just go into Barney the dinosaur?
Sure. Well, because we have multiple matchups to talk about, what we're really going to focus here on is we're going to do like the deep dive approach, right? Because these are specifically characters who I feel like nobody sane would generally request for a death battle. And we want to see if we can convince you that some of these characters would be interesting to explore in a death battle analysis, and not just that, but see in a fight. So we're going to start with Barney, but we have some other potential characters who go wild. So let's get into it.
This one was pitched by Bryson, and it was a fun call because
Yes.
I did not know the level of that specifically Barney gets to. So let's hear about it, Liam.
I have some wild notes from this one, but go ahead and take it away, Liam.
Barney the dinosaur is a mimetic virus. He is, and what mimetics is it treats the concept of ideas like they're viruses, like they spread. This is a thing that comes up in Metal Gear, which is, if you've played that. And what Barney is he is a being that lives in imagination, and is manifested through the imagination of children. And it's important because the lyrics of his song, Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination. Barney can be too if you just make believe him. Like, if you are aware of Barney the dinosaur as a concept, he lives, and he will become real through your mind. So it's not like Freddy Krueger, where it's like you go into the dream world and if you kill Freddy, he's dead. No, if Barney manifests and you kill him, fantastic, great job. Then he's going to manifest from your fucking imagination too.
Yeah, you all watch
idea of Barney
are now a Horcrux of Barney.
Because that's also, and I was gonna say you're a Horcrux. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna save it for later, but Barney breaks the fourth wall. When they say Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, Barney can be your motherfucking friend too if you just motherfucking make believe him. The children are talking to you through the television screen. Barney addresses you through the television screen, which means that he can manifest from your fucking mind. He is fucking crazy. He is an imagination being. And he isn't just a generic, like, when I said he's a god, like, I really want to pull back on that. It's not that he's just some generic god who can do anything. He is the ultimate, like, manifestation of imagination as a power.
Okay. I want to
yeah.
emphasize, we're not just talking about him in terms of like Barney is some sort of eldritch concept of imagination. He's actually, if he were to be in a fight, he could actually do shit using imagination, right?
He is, this stuff is all, I'm not just memeing, like, this is stuff that he's done in the cartoon show and in the movie. Or multiple movies, I'm not sure. I didn't look at all the sources.
There are Barney
So-
movies. I didn't even know this.
Oh yeah. Some
Oh,
of this
yeah.
stuff is from the movie. So first of all, Barney is 200 million years old, which befits a dinosaur, but not really, because he's supposedly a Tyrannosaurus Rex, even though Tyrannosaurus Rex only was alive around 70 to 65 million years ago, around the, at the very end of the late
So he's
Cretaceous,
a
which is really
T-Rex
interesting.
that
Yeah.
predates
Predates.
the T-Rex by almost
He's
double
closer
the
to like
amount.
the early Jurassic, which is way before. I mean, it's not. There were theropod dinosaurs in that period of time, but they were not T-Rexes. It'd be closer to like an Allosaurus, but he's a T-Rex. He's also. I mean, he's also not a. He's a human-shaped being, but whatever. You can't. So he can make himself from your imagination, but you can't unmake him. Which is very interesting because in the movie, there's a little boy who's this little dipshit. This really fucking these putz. And his whole thing is like, Barney's not real, even though Barney's like, hey there, kid, I'm gonna fucking eat you. And like, but he's like,
Yeah,
no,
that's what he
Barney isn't
does.
real. So he sits there and goes, Barney isn't real, or he says something like that, like, I don't believe in Barney. And then
Yeah.
Barney like emerges from the background and like looms over him, puts his hands on his shoulders, and says, that's okay because I believe in you, which is a horrifying. This is not confirmed. I'm just saying the implication of that is not merely that we make Barney from our imaginations, but that Barney makes us from his imagination. So it's really like a recursive. So there might be like a prime Barney, which exists like above regular Barneys.
Once
that
again,
is manifesting all of
Barney's
reality.
so once
Like
again
Azathoth.
Barney's God. Yeah, it's where it goes. Yeah.
Wait, I thought you said
That's
you
just
wanted
an
to pull back
implication,
on him
though.
being God. Like
That's just
seems
an
like it implies
implication.
he is-
Yeah.
But he also can't. But also the point of that, what isn't an implication, is that he can't be unmade because the kid is like, I'm gonna unmake Barney, and Barney's like, nice try, fucko. Barney.
What are we talking about?
Sorry,
Barney,
really quick.
We're
Lily
already
says,
way
"What
off
is
the
imagine?"
rails.
Lily says, "What is imagination to a train, though?" Sorry. Okay.
Oh, buddy, we are getting to that. We are gonna get to that
Oh,
because
okay.
Barney cannot just manifest himself from your imagination. He can manifest anything from your and his imaginations, or unmanifest anything from his or your imaginations. So he is selectively invisible. Like he doesn't appear to parents all the time, although he can. It's not like an age thing where you grow up, you can't see him anymore. He's appeared in front of parents, but he usually doesn't like to. He has super senses. He can see the color of an egg change from hundreds of kilometers away. He can manipulate the weather. He has telekinesis. He can move things with his mind. He can make things bigger and smaller. He can transmute matter. He once turned a toy rocket into a rocket ship and blasted off into space. He also can do it to organic matter. He turned children into robots. He affected organic material and made it inorganic. He can create anything he wants just from his sparkles. Like he goes, and then he creates like demon god, kill him, and then it creates that. And he can take you to different dimensions. So he could just take Thomas and like put him in a different dimension and go fuck off. This was also very horrifying because so in that same movie, there's like let's wish on a star, and he like does like and then he makes like, a shooting star. Yeah, he makes a shooting star.
Sorry, is this how Barney sounds? You keep doing this thing, and I'm like, I don't remember Barney
this is
sounding
like
this way.
he's like, I love you, you love me. You've heard
Does
Barney.
he have a
That's what he
nasally
sounds like.
voice?
It's a little bit more Batesy, but it sounds like this.
Oh,
Ben.
yeah,
Like the,
Yeah. I'm a little nasally.
yeah.
But he made a shooting star, which are meteors. I don't want to say that Barney the dinosaur may have been the reason
The reason.
that his race went extinct.
Okay.
I'm not
It's like-
saying he committed genocide on dinosaurs.
No, Liam,
I'm
it's like
just saying
the first
possible.
time he's experimenting with his powers.
God.
And he's like,
I wonder if I
can do that. Oh God!
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah, he's like, you do not believe in me. You, my fellow brethren, have betrayed me, and now I shall bring hell upon earth. And then it's like blowing them, and like the Triceratops is like, oh, explodes. He can create and if okay, you're like, okay, whatever. I don't know why you would say okay, whatever, but let's say you're like, okay, whatever. His just raw physical strength is insane. He can create 4.0 earthquakes just by jumping. So he just jumps. He was able to freeze everything in the world up to the horizon. So several miles, just froze it. And he created a constellation. So he go, and then made like stars in the sky. And a constellation is like
I would
several
say,
stars.
are we positive they're stars, or is this just like a little nice prestidigitation, right? Like,
Well, okay, I don't they didn't confirm that they were real stars. I mean, I think they were. And here's another thought. Here's something supporting that is that he once made a rocket ship that took him and the children into deep space beyond, and he says beyond the moon, beyond Mars, beyond the sun, beyond the galaxy, into the deepest reaches of space. And they did that in like a couple of minutes. And then like I think one of the other dinosaurs piloting like a motorboat or something through the sky and like reached them in that same amount of time. So it does apply to his reactions, scaling to, I think it was CJ.
My thing with this though, like, is like star creation is something that like happens quite a bit, and there's a new constellation. But to realistically do that, and if we assume light works the same way, he would have had to have made those stars like, I don't know, at least a couple days ago for the light to get here if they're far. Like even if it was as close as the sun, it's 8 minutes, right? He would have had to have made them 8 minutes ago.
I think the point here is that Barney is. I can't believe we're having this conversation.
I agree, he's insane, but I just don't know about this one constellation.
He's a figment of imagination, right? That's what he's proposed as. That is the embodiment of imagination and controls his own imagination that becomes reality. So he can just imagine stars into existence, right? If he wants stars to exist there, they are there.
Do you think maybe with all the other dinosaurs, it was like a Jet Li's the one situation? And that's why he's so powerful?
Yeah, there you go.
What happens in that movie?
He kills all the other hymns.
Highlander, basically.
It's Highlander, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Highlander.
But he gets the power of all the dinosaurs by killing them all.
Oh, like he's the Omni dinosaur. So that's possible.
Okay.
All dinosaurs in because there are other dinosaurs in Barney, right? Isn't there like a
That's true, but maybe they're like he's like bequeathing some of his power to them. Like they're his
Are they
acolytes.
part of his imagination?
They're like his
progeny.
apostles.
His
apostles.
I pulled up Thomas's versus battle wiki just to see what we got here, and I think it's hilarious because one of the first things I saw was that his resistance to freezing, and you just mentioned that Barney can freeze stuff, so we've got at least one counter.
Cover him in hellfire.
Okay, Liam. Embodying Bryson's pitch, like what does a fight? Because I'm curious now, everybody in chat, if we've talked about how absurd Barney clearly is in terms of what the implications are of his character, if you take them ultra seriously. But what does a fight between Barney and Thomas the Tank Engine actually look like? Like, why would this pitch be a thing? What would this actually develop into if we did this?
You could treat it as sort of like you could come at it from treat it like sort of like a postmodern treatise, I think. Like
what?
About the inevitable. Well, because Thomas can't win. He can't win. He can't do anything. So it is about the struggle of man against inevitability, right? And it's really interesting because Thomas is a train. He's an engine. I think of like the little train that could or whatever. He's like, I think I can. So you can get that. That theme is baked into Thomas as a thing. So it's like Thomas is fighting against the currents of inevitability. There's nothing more powerful than Barney that he's ever encountered. There's nothing he can do but simply struggle, and through that struggle, he creates his own meaning. I think you could treat it something like that.
There we go.
Oh,
Really
did you
good.
not mean thematically, or did you mean like what actually happens in the fight? I think he's
I
on,
mean-
on a train track, and Barney goes
So-
"Ugh," and, like smashes him.
We did bring this up because my first thought is just like he's got to have train tracks, right? Like that's a huge like downside, right? But apparently in one of the episodes or something, he can put tracks in front of him so he can like theoretically not be limited by the train tracks.
I feel like that's like
So-
the Edgelord 2000s Barney off the rails or something. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, the idea behind this matchup and the pitch was that these are beings of dreams and imagination, powered by
Yeah.
dreams and imagination. But the quote that I wrote from the pitch that really stuck with me, and I've got it here, is there's no way to end Barney outside of erasing him from the minds of everyone who sees him, including you. So, I'm not entirely sure if Barney may be the most invulnerable entity ever created, but I'm putting a poll up right now. Do you want to see this matchup? Never mind that this is April Fool's. This is April 1st battle instead of Master Chief versus Doomslayer. Think
I
of it that
feel-
way.
I feel like instead, well, I mean, it's a great idea and we should do it, but also I think on the side we should make like a docu-series where we expose Barney as like an eldritch being rather than a kids TV show. It's like the I love you, you love me, like harmful song or spell. Like
It is, you actually
is he
look at
indoctrinating the
theme
children?
song, yeah.
Like and have the really ominous music in the back like I
While
think
you guys
Call
are
up.
voting in the poll, I do want to talk about our first sponsor for this week's episode, which may be useful.
Oh,
after
really?
The feeling you get from this matchup. I'm talking about Z-Biotics. Let's say you're going out with some friends for a night with drinks, but you got to bounce back in the next morning, or you're spending your time talking about Barney, and it just it's hard to process. You have to choose between either having a great night or having a great next day. So why not both with this episode's sponsor, Z-Biotics. I have it right here. Z-Biotics is a pre-alcohol, and it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night, and drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Personally, I was a little worried that it would taste like medicine with like an aftertaste that sort of ruins the night, right? Like this is what it looks like. But it doesn't. It's really easy to down this real quick before your first drink, and then just let it do its thing. So don't let anything sideline your celebrations. Grab pre-alcohol before you go out and be ready to cheer on whatever you're doing all day and all night. So go to zbiotics.com/DBC to learn more and get 15% off your first order, or when you use DBC at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/DBC and use the code DBC at checkout for 15% off. Thank you,
Z-Biotics is a perfect death battle sponsor because it seems like a product that Wiz created for Boomstick.
yeah,
sure.
it does. I've
Okay,
actually
anyway,
I've been buying
moving back
Z-Biotics.
moving back to Barney. Let's see how you guys voted. So apparently 59% of you guys want to see it instead of Master Chief versus Doomslayer, despite
Damn.
you guys actually having voted for Doomslayer.
I
We
do
did so much
feel
work
like
on that episode too. So.
Barney versus Doomslayer is also a great matchup.
60% of you guys want to see it. All right. Although 30% of you guys did vote for what the fuck are we talking about? So that's a pretty significant amount. All right.
Let me catch up on some super chats real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Gelatin Man. Barney's a dream demon like Bill Cipher. Gotcha. Bamalator. Barney is there whenever you need him. That's another good point. Bunny, what are we talking about again? Because they're getting a little ridiculous. Orange
Barney the
Blaster.
dinosaur.
Barney versus Godzilla Ultima. Door, Thomas, and the Magic Railroad Part 2. I guess, okay, that's might be when the tracks thing was happening. Then thank you, Viriel and Crossover, for saying I should voice Barney. All right, we're caught up, I think. Good, got it.
All
Done.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Barney versus Vin Diesel from Bunny.
Oh, yeah, I had to think about that.
Incredible.
Super Money says Barney
Incredible.
has a pocket dimension.
Of course. I mean,
Yes.
that's a given
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Yep.
Grave King Doomslayer versus Barney. I'd watch that. Would Doomslayer stand a chance? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know if the BFG is going to do much against a concept of imagination, but we'll see.
Eats
I guess when we
flowers.
do it. All right. So Barney, incredible thing to analyze in terms of the death battle process. But what about? And I can't believe we're moving to this one. So,
yeah.
So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, right? We've done episodes with JoJo's, right? Like great.
That's not
great,
the weird one today.
Great. Yeah, it's
That's
a
the normal
bizarre franchise for sure. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But what about Iggy, the dog from JoJo, versus Marshall, one of the many dogs from Paw Patrol? What the hell? So this was another pitch we got, and Chad, do you want to talk about why? This even
Oh
works
yeah,
at all?
100%. So we got on a pitch call with Jerome, who Jerome's got some ideas. Let me tell you, we had a great time. So this matchup got pitched, and at first you're like, "What the hell?" Right? But it's like a JoJo character versus a Paw Patrol character. Okay, it's the dog. Okay, two dogs.
Real quick, what is Paw Patrol? Because
Paw Patrol.
I don't know if like a lot of our audience, a lot of
Yeah.
people watching, maybe like grew up with Barney, or maybe they were just like after Barney, but like you saw
It was in the
Barney on commercials
zeitgeist.
and things like that, right? Paw Patrol's a little more recent, actually less recent than I thought, because time flies. But
Yeah.
like, what is Paw Patrol?
Paw Patrol is a children's show designed to sell the shit out of toys to kids.
Like all the good
It
ones.
is about
Dog toys.
a group of
toys that are toys.
a group of pups who all take on a different aspect of like government jobs, I guess. So like so it's like there's the police dog, there's the
firefighters.
fire dog, there's the garbage dog, whatever. There's a whole bunch of them. and they do-
gubernatorial dog.
There's a
you know.
garbage dog. Is there a story about a dog who collects trash?
And he's like a trash guy. He's like a trash guy. Yeah, he goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Of course, there's like a kid who's like a part of the pack of dogs or whatever. They all help. They all help and solve adventures and do all that stuff. And because of that, they have made so many different vehicles and shit like that. Because every time there's a new vehicle, hey, that's the new toy to sell. So let me tell you a little bit about Marshall. So Marshall is the Paw Patrol's fire pup. He's a Dalmatian. And in addition to firefighting, he's also their EMS technician. So Marshall has access to a large variety of vehicles, nearly every type that you could possibly think of, from motorcycles and trucks to submarines and even stealth fighter jets.
Okay.
All of which.
So,
Go ahead.
real quick,
Sure.
primarily Marshall is a firefighter, right?
Yes,
He's a
correct.
Dalmatian. Okay.
A well-equipped firehouse. to say
And
the
EMS.
least.
And EMS.
Liam, you're our JoJo
Yeah.
guy. Can you give me a brief
Yeah.
description of who or what Iggy is? Just so we
Boston
have
Terrier.
something to like compare to.
Boston Terrier
Mhm.
makes sand. His stand. Okay, I'll give you an interesting
There's a
thing.
dog
His
with a stand.
Yeah, he's a dog with a stand. The stand is one of the stands that is bound to something, so it's not intangible and invisible. People can see it. It's made of sand.
Okay.
And it has like a stand form, but it can also shapeshift into anyone he wants. So if perhaps if there's any, I haven't seen Paw Patrol, but if there's anybody in Paw Patrol that Marshall like looks up to or respects, that if they said, "Hey, Marshall, kill yourself," like just it like explode into a billion beings, jump off of a building, and Marshall would obey that, then Iggy could potentially shapeshift a version of them and then say that, or hold up a sign made of sand and say that, and then they would do that. Then he could win that way. Otherwise, maybe not.
when
well,
I was
well, specifically like, so Iggy is a dog with a stand, made of sand, controls sand. essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever I was making the like page for cast today, you know, it has the button where it's like, "Is this made for kids?" And I was like, I wish there was a definitely not. And now I really wish it did come through because after he'd tell Marshall to kill himself. I'm like, please, no children watch.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
this is okay. At this point, we've said enough trigger words for YouTube that I feel like we are going to get age restricted on this Deathful Cast. So thanks, guys.
also, having
All right,
Marshall
so
jump.
with that in mind, now Chad,
Yeah.
tell us about
Great.
this firefighting dog.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, you're talking about having Marshall jump off a building. This dog falls off buildings on the regular. He is the comic relief of the Paw Patrol, so he's a little bit like goofy. So he's always like slipping on stuff and falling off stuff, and yeah, he's falling off buildings like nobody's business.
Does he have like Acme, like get crushed by an anvil kind of durability?
No. They really try and avoid violence a lot in the show, from what I've seen. So it's always like solving things. So it's a lot of freezing stuff, which we'll get to in a second. But so he has every type of vehicle you can think of, like I said, all the way up to like stealth fighter jets and things like that. Every vehicle that he has access to is equipped with some various level of like water and cannons, right? Which can pretty much put out any fire that you can think of, including dragon flames, because that's a thing. He fought a dragon. So like if it burns, he can put it out. No problem. He also has a variety of pup packs, which is like their little backpacks that they have on that like a giant little mech thing comes out. And so he typically uses has a water, it's like a dual barreled water cannon. And then he also has a jetpack. He has an X-ray machine. And more. So that'll just pop out and you can like instantly diagnose like, oh, if you have a broken bone, and then he fixes you all up because he's also, like I said, he's their EMS technician. He competed in a race, and it was quoted to say that he may be the fastest dog in the world, and that was before his superpowers, which of course he gets superpowers. But before we get to that, he's also the most skilled out of all the pups in pup foo, their fighting style.
Great.
So he does have martial arts training as
I
well.
thought you just said there was no fighting in this show.
They
It's different. This is
they fight boards and stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He's got
yeah.
his little headband and like he
Okay.
is trained in martial arts. They just like
They
typically
don't
avoid
combat each
like,
other.
Yeah.
They just
One
do
on
the
one.
They're
show.
so good at
Names.
martial arts, no one fights them.
Marshall?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's
So-
a martial.
yeah.
Marshall.
The martial arts, perfect. So he can also jump super high and things like that. Like he jumped into there's a house that was stuck in a canyon. He jumped into the house that was like halfway down this canyon, grabbed he was like, jump on my back, little girl, and then he's just like, whoa, and just straight leaps like out of this house, out of the entire canyon, and everyone's fine. Okay, so the chat's already talking about this a little bit. So a meteor hits the earth and gives
Barney.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
Pinoy
from Barney.
Barney, yeah. Okay.
Is this Earth, like for sure?
I believe so, yes.
I mean, there's no reason we would assume it's not, I guess.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So y'all, I'm doing my best here.
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
way,
Show
'cause,
for
like
3-year-olds.
I-
Like I,
yeah.
don't
I
know
never
if it's gonna
watched
go
Paw
into
Patrol.
that much lore.
Yeah.
my kids never got into Paw Patrol, but I got so stoked when Jerome was talking about this matchup that I was like, I want to look into it. But there's no respect threads and no versus battle wiki for this damn dog. So I'm just
People are more sane than us, so they're
Yeah.
not gonna like take Paw Patrol and try to versus.
I need someone to do that though, moving
Right?
forward, because this dog's insane. So meteor hits the earth, grants all of the dogs superpowers. Okay, and so they can go into their mighty forms.
Sure.
And Mighty
Power
Marshall,
Rangers, but with dogs.
yes, but then they also, of course, have to get new vehicle upgrades too. So then they all get a mighty version of their vehicle. And so the only difference is the mighty fire truck from Marshall. This is so funny to me. This dog's whole thing is like putting out fires, right? But they finally hit this point where like, well, you can only do so much with water, and they're like, fuck it, give him fire powers. So his
gotta fight
vehicle
fire
and
with
himself
fire.
can shoot fire. Yes, to
Yeah.
literally fight fire with fire.
That makes
So
sense.
he has like full pyrokinesis to a horrifying level. He can manipulate heat to anything he touches, first of all. So like, for example,
Well,
bad-
I want
oh, go
to jump in because it's not technically pyrokinesis. It is temperature control.
it's temperature control,
Right.
right? Yes.
Okay.
Pyrokinesis is typically defined as like control over fire. This is
Yeah.
control over the very atoms and molecules in
Yeah.
space that create energy that transfer energy between objects, creating or removing heat. This is a subatomic power that we're talking about.
Yes, and to the level, it's crazy. So okay, for example, villain freezes an entire city block or whatever, or street or whatever, and then Ryder, the kid, is just like, Marshall, like, I think we need something. And he says some stupid flame pun or something like that. He's like, I get my hot paws on it or something like that. And then he just like touches like the edge of the ice, and then everything just instantly melts and it's all back to normal.
Cool.
The terrifying level that
No,
this
not
gets
cool,
to is because I was like, okay, well, that might be a limit because he's gonna have to like actually touch Iggy, right? Or whatever he's fighting or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, fuck it. Sam, will you pull up Fire 1?
Yeah, we got to go over here though.
We brought
Fire
images
one.
for it. All right.
So this entire building is frozen solid, and like there's a
That
bunch
looks
of,
like pyrokinesis.
yes. So then he is just like, time to like, said something like, time to go into defrost mode or something like that,
Yeah.
and just fucking Kamehameha fire blasts this building. Okay.
It's
Now-
not inconsistent because he's just exciting. He's touching the air molecules, right? And
Yeah,
exciting
yeah,
them
yeah.
so that they explode and ignite the ones in front of them, Yeah.
Right. So this whole building melts. Okay. But I want to show
Wait,
you
the building melts or just the ice?
No, just
around
the ice. So that's the thing.
Okay.
This is why
Yeah.
it's so crazy. He's blasting this thing out, so he's not even touching it, and he can still manipulate heat to the level of show Fire 2, Sam. This guy was frozen inside this building, and he is getting full on blasted with these flames. Okay, and so he goes instantly from de-icing the building to then warming this guy up, and then back to the rest of the whole building gets de-iced. There was I couldn't find it, but in another one, this one thing Jerome was talking to is this happens again, and there's but it's an ice cream shop that gets frozen, and Marshall is able to instantly thaw out everything, including a guy who's eating ice cream, and the ice cream is fine. It doesn't get melted. So that's the level of heat control and temperature manipulation that this dog
Sounds
has.
like it's not that hot. Actually.
Wait.
Well,
Well, it sounds like it's the heat he needs it to be as well, right? Like,
Yes.
but
Right.
Well,
has-
it's specifically that he can control the temperature and
Which
the energy of the
subjects?
temperature between the different
Yeah.
objects to such a degree that he has control over what that object sort of ends up being. So an example that was given during the pitch call was that he can melt tar and then reharden it, which is like not technically really possible to do. So it is a subatomic sort of science that he has complete control over.
Can he turn Iggy's stand into glass then? Like,
yes.
Is that where we're going? That's
Which
the
would be a
logical-
terrible decision. If he blasts Iggy's stand with water first, then the sand is just going to absorb it, and then it's going to have more mass. So he's going to pound Marshall and cave his skull in. If he uses fire to turn him to glass, then he's going to just fucking cut him into a million pieces. I'm sorely not convinced.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. He superheats the sand, turns him into solid glass at the end, or I guess overheats him to the point that, I don't know, he cooks. He could cook that dog.
So I believe the idea is that there
Cook that
are
dog.
So Marshall's not the only dog. I'm just basing this off of the pitch, but I believe Marshall's not the only dog that gets powers. And some of the other dogs get powers that showcase like world or like solar system level types of feats. Summoning massive meteors, affecting the whole planet. And so I think the idea is that if you scale Marshall, this is such a stupid conversation. If you scale Marshall to some of the other dogs and their powers, it is possible that Marshall could melt the entire planet.
Yeah.
Or freeze the entire planet to
They were also
0 degrees Kelvin.
Yeah. They were also hanging out in space one time, and they were all like right next to a black hole, and they were fine because, of course, every children's show loves to do that for some reason. Yeah. So flies up into space, burns the world.
I feel like shows need to give
survive that.
All these kids shows need to give kids like a healthy distrust of black holes. Like when we grew up, it was quicksand. Like we were all worried about quicksand. But
Black
nowadays
holes
kids
are
should-
the quicksand of space.
Yes, thank you. And kids need to be worried about them. Everything shows
they
them just
are.
being non-trivial. Kids are gonna go to
I was
space,
scared of-
sucked into a black hole.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was scared of black holes as a child. I was very
Yeah,
scared. I was
it's
scared
a
of black
healthy
holes,
fear.
quicksand, cobras.
But I was also
scared that
terrified of
cobras would
quicksand.
slither into my
Yeah,
house.
cobras were
listen,
all
yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, king cobras.
Yeah, I went camping as a kid all the time, and I would always be like, I'm on the lookout for quicksand. I don't want to step in the quicksand.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
This
more
is
so than
fucked.
Because I saw it all the time on TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
would die
Black holes are
horribly.
the new quicksand. It's fucking hilarious. All right, so let's.
I also one
Yeah,
thing
go
that Jerome brought up on our call that just really cracked us both up was that because he is an EMS technician and knows all about that, he would theoretically know exactly how to kill someone. So that really cracked me up. And then
Is he
the other thing
EMS
that
for people and dogs?
yes, specifically. Yes.
Smart dog.
He's trained in in human medicine and veterinary medicine. And the other thing I looked up to because I was wondering because I was like, oh, if there's gonna get to an argument of like, could he see Iggy's stand or like whatever. There is an episode where he was able to like shit was going wrong in the city and it was because there was a ghost and he was able to see the ghost and then help the ghost so he can
Fortunately,
potentially-
his stand is visible, but like that also just means
Okay,
like,
got
if
it.
another
Mhm.
stand shows up or something else crazy
Okay.
happens, you can see it. Amazing. All right, so a poll is up in chat. If you are watching this live, we do the show live every Tuesday at noon Central Time. You can go ahead and vote in the poll to let us know if you think we should do this matchup instead of Master Chiefers. I don't know why I keep saying this, but yeah, let us know what you think. Is this a matchup that's worth a death battle? Because I'm excited about it. I think it's really fascinating. Okay, while you guys are voting on that, I want to talk about our second sponsor for this week's Death Battle Cast. This podcast is brought to you in part by Stash. Are you still putting off saving and investing because you'll get to it someday? Well, Stash turns someday into today. Stash isn't just an investing app. It's a registered investment advisor that combines automated investing with dependable financial strategies to help you reach your goals faster. They'll provide you with personalized advice on what to invest in based on your goals, or if you just want to sit back and watch your money go to work, you can opt into their award-winning, expert-managed portfolio that picks stocks for you. Stash has helped millions of Americans reach their financial goals and starts at just $3 per month. Don't let your savings sit around. Make it work harder for you. Go to get.stash.com/DBC to see how you can receive $25 toward your first stock purchase and to view important disclosures. That's get.stash.com/DBC. Paid non-client endorsement, not representative of all clients and not a guarantee. Investment advisory services offered by Stash Investments, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk and investments may lose value. Offers is subject to T's and C's. So let's see how that poll is doing. Once again, you guys are, we got over 50% of you saying, yeah, let's do Iggy versus Marshall. And then 28% of you saying, please stop. Unfortunately, we are
Sorry.
not stopping just yet. We still have a little over 10 minutes of the cast left, and we have one more matchup to talk about. I feel like this one, maybe you guys will be a little more understanding of, though, because, maybe not, because I do feel like when you see it, you might go, what the hell? And then when you think about it, you go, oh, I kind of get it. Sam, can you go ahead and bring up the thumbnail for Gonzo versus Papyrus? All right.
I need to remind everyone that people contributed a significant amount of money to the Kickstarter for these to happen.
We've had so many incredible pitches. It's always fun going into these calls, and these pitches range from all different types of ideas. And I love that so many of you are just like, what's the weirdest fucking shit I could pitch to them? Let's go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Barney versus Thomas, Papyrus versus Gonzo. So I kind of love this one. They're both very much like the Great, and then have similar personalities, or they call themselves, Gonzo the Great, Papyrus the Great.
Yeah.
They have similar personalities. They love showing off. They love doing stunts. I think just the idea of them interacting would be so much fun. Sam, do you want to talk a little bit about Papyrus?
Yeah, I mean, Papyrus is a lot like Gonzo in that sense. Like you said, he's he's like always trying to do something fanciful. It's often failing, or he's doing something dim to stop it. But as like at the heart, he is like a good guy skeleton who's just trying to be a real cool dude. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say because I don't know enough about Gonzo. So I'm like, how are these even fight? Like, the thing that gets me is like Papyrus. Almost all of his attacks attack the soul.
Yeah.
Does Gonzo have a soul? Like, I don't want to be mean to the Muppets, but do they have souls? I'm not sure.
Damn, that's brutal.
So-
do the Muppets have souls? That's the
I
question.
would argue yes, because in A Muppet Christmas Carol, there are ghosts that come and visit Scrooge, and those ghosts are
Oh,
Muppets.
yeah.
The
Saying-
spirits.
Yeah.
Saying that ghosts are like remnants of a soul, though, I
Ghosts.
think is making a lot of assumptions about ghosts.
Don't
but-
even begin
Okay.
with this. No, no.
Just
no.
because Gonzo's a Muppet doesn't mean he doesn't have a soul. Like in the world of the Muppets, they
Yeah,
are
they
people.
clearly
They're not
do.
like there's in like lore wise there is somebody controlling
A
puppet.
Christmas Carol is based on the Christian perception of reality. Yes. And in that, a ghost is a soul
Right.
that has not moved on to heaven or hell or purgatory.
These are
It is
Judeo-Christian Muppets, okay?
These are Judeo- At least that was a Judeo-Christian version of interpretation of the Muppets.
But still, so
I actually think in there's a way to interpret it in Christian reading that ghosts are actually
Yeah.
demons. So like that like try to like manipulate you.
That aren't humans. That aren't like.
Yeah, you're
like a
thinking of
ghost
guardian
is-
angels. So I don't know. Maybe that means Muppets are actually demons. So who knows? But
But I do think in the
Maybe not.
Undertale world, demons also have souls, so I think we're back at the same thing anyways.
It's true.
well, there
I
we
mean,
go.
their demons are kind of monsters, right? They're the under people, but yeah.
But I do wonder how much of this fight, this death battle between Gonzo and Papyrus would actually be them trying to like attack each other. Or would it be them trying to one up each other, right? Because like both of them are very much into like showing off and doing stunts and trying out things to prove how cool they are, right? And I feel like that would be the majority of the death battle. And maybe
Hey.
one of them might pull off a stunt that's a little too hard for them. And I think that's where the limit would be.
Mhm.
Actually, I think that's kind of a brilliant way to take it. I think one of the good, like, there's a part pretty early in the game where Papyrus sets up like an electric fence maze with this orb, and the character is supposed to go through this invisible maze, and if like, you know, they touch it, they get shocked, but he still has the orb, so he just gets shocked anyways. Like, it's stuff like that, right, where he tries to do this setup of like, you'll never get past my special maze, and then it just completely backfires and hurts him instead.
Yeah.
And I think that
The
would be the
problem-
best way to do this fight. Is like they just try and one up each other until one of themselves accidentally hurts themselves too much to continue by doing a dumb trick. Like, I'm gonna kill you by shooting myself out of a cannon at you, and then they just hit a wall, right? Like that's
Mm.
But that's the thing is, Gonzo loves pain. Like, he is not
he's a
afraid to get
masochist.
hurt
Yeah,
or to
for
take
sure.
a hit, you know, like, and that's, I think, the biggest downside to Gonzo is like, I don't think he's gonna be avoiding too much stuff because he's like, he's into it, you know what I
Well,
mean?
Oh, yeah,
So-
he's not scared.
that might be a
Yeah,
What
little.
do you
like-
mean he's into it? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of gratification are we talking about?
Yeah, no,
I-
I don't think
How
he's.
masochistic does a Muppet
100%.
get? Question here?
100%. Gonzo's got some. Gonzo,
But
yeah, he got
the-
some kinks. I'm telling you.
The Muppets do get pretty damaged from regular things. Like when Kermit gets hit by that car, it's so funny, but Kermit is in the hospital afterwards, right? Like they still get
Oh, no.
significantly damaged by normal things. Whereas like Papyrus, I mean, like in that lightning fence thing, he gets electrocuted. I mean, he is a skeleton. Normally, it's like the electrocuted till you see the
Sure.
X-ray skeleton, but he is one. So like, he's charred black, right? Like it's a significant amount of electricity, and he's absolutely fine.
Dude Blade X does have a point. Gonzo's an alien. Kermit's only a frog. Obviously, a frog is going to get hurt by a car, but will an alien get hurt by a car?
I did
Yeah,
not actually
Gonzo's-
know that about Gonzo. I just thought he was some.
well, he
weird
was originally
creature I
a
didn't know.
whatever, as I
Okay.
believe what his thing was,
Right.
and then they did the alien story, and it turns out, yeah, he's actually an alien. Also, let me catch up real quick. Vamulator did a very clever rendition of
Oh,
the
my
Muppets
favorite,
theme,
my
but
favorite
ending with
name,
TV cast tonight.
Vimilitor.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
What does Vimiliator have to say today, chat?
A couple things. The first one is it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to watch the greatness on the DB cast tonight. So thank you, Vamulator.
Thank you.
Then he says, Muppet Christmas Carol is a no-go for a death battle, but Gonzo does have a soul. He did try to sell it for fame. Okay, good to know. And Gilded Data.
Sorry, back up. When?
Yeah, what?
He tried to sell his soul?
Apparently. Gilded Data says Papyrus may secretly be the strongest character in Undertale. Yeah, I don't know. So how do we handle the movies? Okay, because like they're canonically the Muppets are actors, right? So like,
Are they?
yeah, like that's like the Muppet Show. They're all actors putting on a variety show, and so then like
Yeah, but I think other ones like aren't that.
They have real ones like Muppet Caper or stuff like that, or the latest like Muppet movie and stuff. That's them just like actually doing the thing or whatever. But then
I have to bring this up because I didn't know this was a thing. So I looked up what the heck was going on with Gonzo selling his soul. Apparently, at some point, Alice Cooper showed up on the Muppet Show and tried to get Gonzo to sell his soul to him.
Sick.
That's sick.
What?
That's amazing. But what do we do with like Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, like that kind of stuff? Because like,
oh, that's why they say it's a no-go for Death Battle because they are acting in those movies,
right? Because Gonzo is playing Charles Dickens, but they also do this really weird fourth wall breaking thing where Gonzo is addressing the audience and he has like omniscience because he is the narrator. It's a whole back and forth between him and Rizzo the whole time. So it's like
it's the same issue we had with Barbie when we talked about Barbie.
Right.
Barbie is an actor in half her movies, but she's not in some of them.
Right.
So we'd have to figure out where it kind of crosses over. Like things that we've seen them to translate to things they do in the movie. Because it's also possible that like, yes, they're in the movie, but is what they're doing actually special effects or them actually performing their own abilities in the movie?
Well, and so here you go. Sloth Overload says the Muppets are actors, but a lot of the movies are genuinely canon. It's Christmas Carol and Treasure Island that are strictly non-canon, though the Muppets do their own stunts.
Okay,
so
I do want to really quick. Our own Jumpin' Jets asked, did he successfully sell his soul to Alice Cooper? Because that does matter. I think if he doesn't have a soul, I don't know how Papyrus
I don't
attacks.
think so.
Okay, cool. So we're still back.
They thwarted the demon Alice Cooper, who
Early...
rose out of a coffin, by the way. It was like a vampire demon thing.
Early 2000s, soul selling was big. If y'all weren't around for it, people were selling them like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what eBay really specialized in back then.
They had to make it a thing where you couldn't see. They wouldn't let people sell their souls on eBay anymore because it was so prolific. It was a whole deal.
Well, yeah, it sucked because we sold Chris's soul on eBay for Extra Life, Chris Damaris.
Yeah,
and it got to like a ton of money. We're like, this is gonna be amazing for kids, and then eBay took it down.
Yeah. So they don't let you do that.
I know.
The hell.
Selling, I mean, if you're gonna sell your soul, at least it's for the kids.
Yeah,
you know, that's a good reason. That's a good reason. All right, I'm gonna throw up one more poll, but I do wonder. So, out of all three of the matchups we've talked about today, I want everybody here to go around and say their favorite. Starting with Chad.
Ooh.
Our favorite of the ones we discussed today.
What? Yeah. Either their favorite or like one that you would like want to see or you can imagine seeing.
I think let's go character. Barney. I want Barney in a death battle 100%. I think Barney would be rad. I don't know if Thomas is necessarily the best matchup.
It might be a bit of a stomp, but I also do. Yeah. I have a little bit of a love for Thomas just because George Carlin was like the narrator of that show for so long. But so I do kind of think that one, but yeah, I don't know. I also think Paw Patrol is like so silly that if we brought it in, it would just do gangbusters.
I love analyzing things that shouldn't be analyzed. That's like one of my favorite things about the show. And so we got that with Barney, but then also like, I mean, it just seems like there's not enough versus debating for Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
And we can change that.
After all the years of having like Undertale requests, I do think it would be funny if our first Undertale episode was Gonzo versus Papyrus. Like that would be So
that's what
fun.
I was gonna bring up. Is that so? I kind of reworded my question wrong, and more so, I'm thinking like, what's everybody's general thoughts on the three matchups? My thought on that is like we've gotten so many Undertale requests, and Sans keeps coming up. It would be really funny if this was our first Undertale matchup. I love that.
Papyrus. As Gilded Data
Liam.
said, he might arguably be the strongest Undertale character. We'll leave it there, but he does do some impressive things.
Liam, which matchup are you thinking about?
I'm thinking Barney. Barney versus Thomas.
You want to bring Barney in?
We gotta do Barney. We gotta bring Barney in.
I do want to do the expose
Barney.
on how Barney is an eldritch
Yeah.
monster that's trying to
Yeah.
convince kids to love him so that his power grows. I think that is like a fun aspect.
Yeah. I think we can't be ignored. I think we spent enough time working on this show without having properly covered Barney the dinosaur. It's time for that to end.
This
think
is
we have
what
a
it's all been
responsibility.
building to, people.
Yeah,
This is what it's
I think
all
so.
been building up to. We've discovered Death Battle's true purpose.
Yeah, these are my favorite.
Happy April 1st, everybody. I don't know what we just did for the past hour.
Yeah,
But
to
we
be
did
fair,
it.
just so you know, these matchups aren't a joke. You not knowing about them was the joke, and now we've ratified
Yeah.
that, and so that's our
Yes.
April 1st. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Because my God, these pitches were incredible to listen to. And shout out to everybody who brought these pitches to us. It's been fantastic seeing everybody's pitch ideas, ranging from all sorts of different types of ideas, and we're excited about each one. So thank you so much to everybody who brought these to us. And again, that is Gonzo versus Papyrus, Iggy versus Marshall, and Barney the Dinosaur versus Thomas the Trank Engine. Let us know.
The
in
Trank
comments.
Engine? I think that's a different
That's
thing.
the best drug
Did I
dealer
say
name
Trank?
ever.
Yeah,
That's so sick.
Yeah, that one. That's my favorite Thomas character. Let us know which of those matchups you would want to see most in the comments below. And who knows? Maybe one day we will do one of them, and it will potentially break the internet and ruin one of these franchises for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I see-
Incredible.
Gavin said, "What about Barney versus Dora?" We'll get Torian back for the Dora. Don't worry.
Yeah,
We
there
can
you
do
go.
that later.
Oh my God. Can Barney hold a sun in his hands? We'll see. I guess he can imagine it. If he can imagine holding a sun, he could. All right. Thank you all for joining us for another Death Battle cast. Again, we have a new Death Battle out. If you haven't seen it, go check out Shigaraki versus Mahito. It's out right now on the Death Battle YouTube channel. The team, I think, did an incredible job. Liam as director, Moro as our lead animator, and of course, so many other people who worked on that episode. So go check it out and let us know what you think of it and who won. It is maybe almost as dark as some of the shit we talked about on this cast today, but
pretty
yeah,
grim.
it gets kind of intense.
It's a great episode, though.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you, LeVar Gio.
Bye, y'all.